So welcome back, guys, and where have I been? When I left you, I was on the Fairfield Horseshoe, saying I was en route to New Zealand to meet my daughter for a month, which I did, and I did promise you that there'd be a video. We're going to do the Tongariro crossing and various bits and pieces. And to cut a long story short, I've had a bit of a technical disaster over the last 6 weeks on a number of fronts. So when I came back from New Zealand, I tried to transfer a lot of the videos that I had from that trip onto my computer, and in that process a lot of them got corrupted to a point where I couldn't recover them. So I've not been able to use them, which is very disappointing because I've only got half of the videos from the Tongariro crossing. I mean, you can see here it was an amazing place. Some of the views from the top were absolutely outstanding, and you know, some of the most unique emerald sort of lakes I'd ever seen. And I did manage to create a couple of nice images. Would have been nice to tell that story, but sadly, in Jim Bowen style, is what you could have had sort of approach, I'm afraid. So that didn't quite pan out. And then something else has been happening, which is really what this video is about, is about how my photography has been changing a little bit over the last 6 to 8 months. Those of you who followed me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, will realise that probably about 6 to 8 months ago I deleted them accounts. I'd had enough. And I just feel my landscape photography's come a bit stale. I mean, to be honest, in 10 years, believe it or not, and this may be hard to believe, I've taken 500,000 images. Now, a lot of that might be, recent time-lapsing projects and things like that, but 500,000 images over 10 years is not a bad shift. And to be honest, I've just sort of lost a bit of inspiration around landscape photography. So I started dabbling with a bit of wildlife photography, and actually I found I really enjoyed it. And I bought myself this, Sony 200 to 600. I've upgraded my camera to the Sony A7R5 with bird and auto bird tracking and an eye detection system, and I've really been getting into it. And that's really the purpose of this, to just outline that the channel is going to change a little bit from really hardcore landscape photography stroke traveling thing to more wildlife creeping in there. Now, that's not to say, so don't just delete me straight away, it's not to say that I'm not going to be doing any landscape stuff. I am. And in fact, I've got a couple of epic trips coming up, not least, the one I'm really excited about is a trip to the Far East. We're going to Singapore, to Borneo, and travelling around Indonesia, and that will be a mixture of landscape and wildlife. So I've got some really exciting stuff to come up. But that leads me to my other technical problem that's causing me massive issues at the minute. This MacBook, my MacBook Air here, they're both 10 years old, and recently it's all started falling over to a point where I can't even use Lightroom on it now because you need Monterey operating system, and I can't install it because it's too old. So I'm in a bit of a dilemma at the minute about whether to stick with the Apple and get a MacBook Pro or go to some other system. But in the meantime, my video editing capability is really limited, and I'm having to learn DaVinci Resolve on the hoof. So hopefully, if this video is coming to you, I've managed to at least cobble something together on DaVinci Resolve just to tell you what's happening. And hopefully I get a little bit slicker at it, and can get back, either if I get back to the Apple system, I'll probably move back to iMovie, or if I really like DaVinci Resolve. I mean, you tell me, guys, anybody out there using DaVinci Resolve for their video editing? How do you find it? Is it good? Is it worth sticking with? Because it might be one of these things, it could be a blessing in disguise. It might be a lot better than iMovie, and I might end up sticking with it. So this is just a quick video to say, you're probably going to see a little bit less of this type of stuff and probably a bit more of this type of stuff. So, two things. I really appreciate the support I've had so far with my landscape channel. Hopefully the new sort of change in emphasis will bring some new subscribers, some wider audience. But please stick with me. There'll still be a lot of landscape stuff in. I am going to continue the Wainwright series that I've got running. So I'm still committed to doing that 100 Wainwrights for 100 viewpoints. So don't worry, that will commence, and I'll continue with that. And finally, just a really sad bit of news really, and like many of you over the years, Alan Wallace, an absolutely stupendous astrophotographer, sadly was announced that he died a couple of weeks ago. Me and a few of my friends employed Alan for a night's work a few years ago in Llanberis. He was such a lovely lad, you know, so passionate about his subject. One of the best, if not the best, astrophotographer that certainly I've come across in the UK, and probably world renowned. And to die at 34 is an absolute tragic loss. So just to say to his family and those who, you know, are close to him, we're really, you know, the landscape and astrophotography world is really mourning your loss. He was a massive inspiration to many, and he will be sadly missed. So that's it, guys. The channel will sort of, hopefully, if I can sort my IT issues out, resume. I've got masses of content to come, particularly on the wildlife side, and I've got some landscape stuff that will be, you know, pretty epic in the near future. Stick with me. Stick with me. I know I may be transitioning slightly from a landscaper to a wildlife photographer, but there will be a lot of content in there, and hopefully there should be something for everybody. So for now, until the next video, thanks for joining me.